Hey you! Yes you! Do you desire more from Roblox horror games than a poor standard of cookie-cutter rules with steel and lacking atmosphere, packed with needless gore? Well, Bear Asterisk has got your back. Featuring beautiful set pieces, lovable characters, ferocious monsters, dozens upon dozens of amazingly crafted cosmetic items, tons of special events, and much more. Bear Asterisk is the most stylish and personality-packing horror game fresh out the market. Gone are the days of well-crafted yet one-and-done endeavors with overly complex monsters that require mastery to beat. Introducing replayable and easy-to-master puzzles, plenty of claustrophobic hiding spots, and a monster that is sure to send you in a frenzy with its near one-shot kills, agile skill set, and player autonomy, growing into a demon that will near always kill you in seconds upon sight. So what are you waiting for? Come join our little party.
Only on Roblox.
Not so subtle remarks aside, Bear Asterisk is quite the anomaly. It does so much stuff that I love in the gameplay department as much as I despise, or rather, doesn't do. Put simply, Bear Asterisk is quite possibly the most style over substance game on Roblox, and that's what's going to lead to its downfall if nothing changes. But instead of jumping the shark and immediately being down on the game, I'm going to try to be as fair as I can with it. So, what do I like about the gameplay? Well, firstly, escape and waves are very engaging and keep you on your toes. The former requires teamwork and puzzle solving skills to escape. Something that everyone likes to say they are the only ones to have, but in reality are just as incompetent as everyone else. So you can imagine it's not so easy. There just being a common goal that requires you to be moving about to complete as fast as possible is enough to carry this mode for me. It keeps you engaged and feeling like there's constantly something to look out for. Probably my favorite map for this as a survivor is Lab 56, as it has a lot of winding paths and hiding spots for you to use to hide from the bear. It also just feels so satisfying to get into a groove and style your way out there. The latter is exactly what it sounds like. Once again, I like the map design here. It allows for you to always have an escape plan, and for there to always be a way to outsmart/maneuver the enemies, while also keeping you on your toes with small maps and very little room between you and the enemy spawns. Speaking of which, it's still very easy to slip up, but there's a bit more fairness, as if you can juggle rushers, rangers, and take your enemies well enough, you're basically set. These modes have a lot going on, but it's still breathable. And the tense nature of it all, though mostly an escape, as that's more of a mainstay mode, really works to contribute to the game's greatest strength, which is the sheer intensity of adrenaline that comes from it. As a survivor, you're obviously not expected to survive often, so when you're actually surviving for a while and managing to complete puzzles, oh boy, do those adrenaline pumps kick into high gear. I think a good example of this was a round I had in a map called Echelon's Stronghold. I spawned in, and being unfamiliar with the map, chose to wander off, walking to conserve my energy. I scoured the area, observing the location of the puzzles, constantly watching my back, and precautiously made my way to the wire puzzles area that had another player. Unfortunately, the amount of meat sacks I could weave in between to lose the bear was dwindling. So we completed the puzzle as fast as we could and hid in a crevice where we were forced to sit there and ponder where the monster could be. After a little bit of sidetracking to get some cheese to complete the puzzle I passed earlier, chopping away at the clock. You can imagine I had quite the shock as I broke the bear's legs, made a run for it in the center of the map, conserving whatever little energy I had left, clumsily jumping through the unknown parts of the map, using every strategy I knew how to break its kneecaps, and nothing. Just the atmosphere and strange noises accompanying me. I managed to hide, with my heart still beating fast, as I realized there's little over a minute left, and that this chase was pretty much over. The only thing I knew at that point was to run, and run as far as I could. And then would you look at that, my ticket out of this mess. Sayonara, Clementine. Don't worry, I'll remember you. Right back to the start. The farthest away I could get. She's dead. It's over. He knows it's over. I know it's over. It's all over. You wouldn't be wrong to assume at this point that the only thing I care about is how I managed to juke the bear that many times, and making sure I'm not having a heart attack. Thankfully, I was given enough pay for my work, and that I wasn't smelling burnt toast. It's moments like these that make Bear Asterisk worth playing. Getting away and beating the monsters at their own game, using all your skills to evade the monster for as long as possible. This game, in the nearly 7 years I've been playing Roblox, can provide me with more adrenaline than any other game on the site. This is what Bear Asterisk is best at, creating these tense situations where you need to act fast. Tension can build up super high very quickly. Puzzles like the "Give me the cheese" and color ones force you to go out and explore the map, which is a dangerous stunt by itself, mind you, and it forces you to stay at a certain area and then bolt to the nearest hiding spot, building up tension even more. The puzzles in general force you to go beyond your comfort zone and potentially get caught by the bear just to decrease the timer. The map designs are also like labyrinths, big mazes to try to hide and sneak away in. I think my favorite map is Undead Coming Free, as there's a lot of open space but still plenty to hide, and so you're playing a game of trying to keep away from the bear and find spots that they hopefully won't think to check. It builds up tension and is very stressful, which again is Bear Asterisk's strong suit. But being bear also has its perks. As expected, your time as the bear will mostly involve causing chaos and chasing down survivors. It can be quite fun just chasing these squealing little pigs as they try to parkour away, even though they won't last more than 10 seconds. Just getting to jump on them is an absolute blast at times. And while I'll save this more for the end of the video, the recently added abilities make playing bear much more fun, giving you the chance to limit what survivors can do, summoning extra enemies, or my favorite one, being the one that highlights survivors for you, making finding them much easier. Bear Asterisk in general is a very adrenaline pumping and stressful game that forces you to act fast and make split-second decisions to survive. In an ideal scenario, because my god are there a lot of problems with the gameplay. There's about as many, if not more, problems with the game than there are pros, and it has a lot to do with how the game is balanced. See, one thing I neglected to say about playing as Survivor is that most of the time you're not going to be getting any sort of adrenaline rush or intense rounds. You're mostly just going to be running around for like 30 seconds, maybe trying to do a puzzle, then getting killed in seconds by the bear as they have the natural advantage. You do this nearly every round, and it gets boring fast. The only way to reliably win is be a cheapskate and hide in busted hiding spots, which is really boring and quite unfair to the bear. You're only ever going to fear the bear if you live long enough to survive an encounter with it, which doesn't happen often. So you just get pissy over dying in the first minute every time, as there isn't really anything you could do if you're in a sweat that knows how to perfectly juke the bear. And the game certainly doesn't help with this feeling, because what happens after you die? Well, you're basically just sitting in the lobby for minutes on end, in which the only thing to do is complete the lobby, beg people to play Connect 4 with you, or spectate. This, unsurprisingly, gets boring quick, especially if you die near the start of the round, because you might need to sit there for 5 whole minutes, only to repeat the process again. And for some extra salt in the wound, if you're not being a perfect player and completely dominating the round, you're most likely going to be paid in pocket change, as puzzles don't give a whole lot, and you're more incentivized to just survive instead of doing anything engaging. And that's with a game pass that gives you 2 times the quids. My heart goes out to all you poor souls who have to grind without it. What's weirder is for some reason, the lobby hobby oddly gives a more consistent and reliable amount of quids, Which begs the question of why even play the game to get skins if you can just flip on some tunes and get a ton of quits for very little work. Being a survivor doesn't really have any perks. You're kind of just walking around and doing basic puzzles, hoping you don't die. Puzzles that you most likely won't complete, as you're basically a saying duck for the bear to snag when you're not looking. There are a lot of puzzles where you're out in the open or sitting still in an easy to find spot. Sure, sometimes these can build tension if you're lucky, and there are rounds that can get your adrenaline pumping, but unfortunately, most of the time it's kinda just boring. So with all those negatives I've listed when it comes to survivor gameplay, and how much more overpowered the bear is, you think they fare much better, right? Well, it's certainly fun chasing survivors and getting that dopamine release after killing them. Trying to prevent them from accessing puzzles and trying to predict where they go will make you feel much smarter. And overall, it's a very fun and adrenaline-packed experience. That is, if you forgot what map design is. If I could describe this game's map design as the bear in a single sentence, it would be playing for the hunt and not the chase. See, if there wasn't a big enough barrier between you and the survivor, everyone would just rage quit, as there would be literally nothing they could do to prevent their death. As a sort of compromise, a lot of the maps have a lot of ways for survivors to lose you and hide. Remember when I said that a lot of the maps are like labyrinths? While that's good for the survivor, it's hell for the bear. Maps like Lab 56, the Backrooms, Greenton Asylum, Anamoya, and Cheese Factory have long winding hallways, narrow paths that obscure what you can see, and tons of places to hide, making finding survivors much harder. So what happens is you walk around for a while, find a survivor that you kill in 5 seconds, and then repeat the process until you win. It's really annoying having to go from long hallway to just to tear apart a room that might not have anyone in it. And since you are nearly as fast as survivors think you have to slowly search for the map, only to find a survivor that will either die in 2 seconds or run away and force you to slowly walk through and tear apart more rooms. I feel like maps like York Resting Place, Haunted Mansion, and Undead Coming Free do a much better job at this, being in the middle of narrow and expansive. Where you know where the survivors will most likely be, you just gotta check first. I think those kinds of maps do it best when it comes to the hunt part, but as for the chase, that's a much more aggravating and tough problem. Chases, like I said earlier, are very fast and smooth sailing most of the time. However, sometimes you'll have some little wave dasher saving up to sprint to run right past you and break your kneecaps. And my god, is it frustrating. Maybe it's me having a skill issue, but these guys are just so annoying, constantly testing how bizarre your hitbox is, running away, jumping on trees, doing everything in their power to run away, knowing damn well that the dedication of the bear is going to outlive them. It's just super annoying on both sides, as survivors are struggling for their lives, which more often than not isn't worth it, and bears are annoyed about all the precious time they're wasting that could be used to prevent puzzles from being solved or killing other survivors. On the topic of annoyance, I held back to mention the special game modes, which, I'm gonna be real, I'm pretty sure Cheetah Man thought these at lunch break like, hey, what if we made a game mode where survivors just get instantly fucked over, wouldn't that be funny? And just shoved them in without much thought. Double Down, and especially Infection, and especially One Balance, amplify this annoyance and feeling of having your time wasted, and making you have others to blame for your inability to get around these mazes quickly. And sometimes, there's that one slippery bastard who everyone fails to kill and makes you question if playing this game is even worth it. With all that in mind, I still wouldn't call Bear Asterisk gameplay very bad. It's got a bunch of concepts that can work, and the blueprints are there for a very nice game. But unfortunately, none of it seems to be realized. Everything just kind of feels like it's missing something to hold the game together. You can see where they're trying to go with this with the gameplay, and when it starts to line, you'll get to experience that immersion and intenseness the devs most likely want you to feel. But most of the time, it's just super annoying on both sides. However, recently, abilities made Bear more convenient to play as, giving it easier ways to find survivors and catch up on them without having to fight tooth and nail to hit them once. And I respect how hopefully these will be the thing that makes the game go in the right direction, because as of right now, the only thing that really matters it seems is skins and other cosmetics, as... Actually, I think someone else should speak for me real quick.
Well, hello there. My name is Pormco Plate, and I'll be the attorney of Mr. Argo J. Spiral's fragile ego.
Hey, I heard that. You're not even a real attorney.
Oh, quiet you. I played all the Ace Attorney games. I know it. Ooh, would you look at that? Here's the prosecutor.
Your Honor, members of the jury, my name is Bliss Bracket Bacon. Representing the prosecution in this case, Mr. Mann has come to me to testify under oath that the skins and cosmetics of Bear Asterisk are what keep the game alive.
Your Honor, members of the jury, my name is Pormco Plate. Representing the defendant in this case, Mr. Spiral has come to me to testify under oath that without innovation in its gameplay, Bear Asterisk will slowly die.
Your Honor, in Exhibit A, after the St. Patrick's Day 2023 event was launched, many people flocked to the game.
1,000 of them in fact. This was all due to a simple quest with a skin reward for beating it. These Joseph players are like heartbeats, keeping the game going and chugging along nicely.
Interesting, but what happens when the game goes without updates? Thankfully, I prepared myself with evidence. Let us begin. As can be seen in Exhibit B, over the course of a few weeks, the player base of Bear Astros would sit at a measly 100 to 200 players, before spiking at weekend points. There was a noticeable spike to about 1,000 around the previously mentioned St. Patrick's Day, before shortly dropping off afterward. In Exhibit C, after the Trojan-free update occurred, which introduced more gameplay elements to the game kept a higher player count for many days to come. Simply put, whenever a big event comes around, people are immediately grappled to it. However, very little stick around, and the player count does not increase beyond its expected rates in night and day, as the gameplay is simply too stale to keep people around. However, with this new update, more have stuck around, and are still playing as certain flaws get patched out.
Your Honor, if I may, in Exhibit D, on several posts in the announcements channel, hundreds or even thousands of reactions are put on posts. The evidence shows that the community is very much alive and thriving, and that they are all right with the current flow of the game. Listen, I was running low on time, there wasn't much to work with.
Whatever. Well, while it's true that his reaction shows signs of life, things still weren't progressing any further. See Exhibits B and C.
Well, the updates the game gets are still providing a pulse. A heartbeat that keeps the game going onwards.
Well, if that's the case, Exhibit E, Bear Alpha, Bear Asteroid's predecessor, still retains around 200 to 400 players to this very day, even after 4 years. Even with an alternative that gets a lot more updates provided to it is right there, its player base is still there. The reasons for this may be all over the place, like not wanting to lose progress on cosmetics and start all over, seeing the game as better in its first state, feeling more connected to it, just not wanting to let go of the original, new players stumbling across it first. Either way, when comparing gameplay, they're mostly the same, being asymmetric horror games with puzzles and little else. There are other modes, though judging by numbers, that doesn't seem like enough. A real sequel would adapt these mechanics and flaws, make them better or just more fun to play around with.
You prove a point. And while you've only spoken with numbers, I will speak with others' voices. Well, Judge, I wish to call in a witness. Oh yeah, forgot about that. Hey, wait a minute, if we don't have a judge, jury, or executioner, why are we here?
Wait, damn, you make a good point. Lunch at 5?
Yeah, sure, why not? Okay, well, maybe that kind of fell apart near the end.
But I think my little attorney boy said everything I needed. If Bear Aspect doesn't improve on its flaws, I fear it won't be able to go anywhere, and that it will be shrouded in obscurity for the rest of its lifespan. And though the abilities are a great start, I feel there could be a lot more. There should really be more experimentation, as there's a lot of ways you could shake things up and balance the game better to make both sides of the coin feel fun. So with that being said, what could they add to make it better? Well, I have a bunch of random ideas to spitball, but, wait, I forgot to put... Oh, fuck. Well, we're quite short on time here, so how about more special game modes that are actually fair? Like, I wanted to change the map design, or change, like, how you do puzzles, like, actually follow the bear to get a key, or, how about you make puzzles open up more of the map, more ways to escape the bear to make you actually want to do them, or the survivors have more hit points where the bear can actually get trapped or something, or you can actually find yourself before you teleport on the bear to make it move somewhere near but further away from you, or how about give survivors more stuff to do in general, like have the bear be a lot stronger at the round, but you find ways to make it weaker, or more its original form, or vice versa. Have the bear be weaker at the start but become OP at the end, or just give the bear another way to attack survivors, just deal pesky dukers, or at spot puzzles that get more quits before going on doing stuff and trying not to blow up when you're dying early before getting anything done. Or how about having skin types or something unique strategy, having like a specific move to where you trap survivors, or how we use reverse T-Rex movie logic, how it makes sense when someone's not moving and oh my fuck. This video may come off as a bit pretentious, especially for this new video style. Seriously, why did I choose urgent message a game developer for this? But I still do think this is something that needs to be said. I mean, if no one else will, I guess I gotta step up to the plate. I've been playing since launch day, and seeing Bear Asterisk go absolutely nowhere for nearly 2.5 years since the game's introduction was quite disappointing to me. I really do question why an update like Trilogy 3 that added actual new elements, and quite tried and true ones at that, took so long to make. Like, why did the last Trilogy update just add cosmetics, and a stock market crash? I understand from experience watching other game devs go through the motions that it's quite a hard trap to escape, only focusing on the near future instead of the long term, adding events and new skins and flashy colors instead of ironing out the gameplay. I mean, it makes people happy to see new stuff and you get much more money and attention, so I clearly understand why Cheetah Man and his crew would go down the route of basically jingling keys in your face. I know a lot of people, including myself, who would absolutely fall down the same path. Still, the game is in desperate need of some more engaging gameplay features and fixes. Like, if they just experimented for a while with new ideas to test out, I think would really help out with this game. I mean, goddamn, it's basically on fucking life support, having its heart electrocuted every now and again with the same thing over and over. I'm optimistic as to where this game will go next. Hopefully they take the memo and just do some more gameplay updates, because I'm really tired of seeing games with neat premises and presentation be as dry as a bone when it comes to substance. Until then, I'll be playing still, and I'll try to give the game another chance, and I think you should too. There's clearly a lot of passion, love, and work put into this game, just waiting to be uncovered. There just needs to be a lot more crumb to this massive tray of icing. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a little more experimental, but I had a lot of fun working on it. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a weekend to waste. Until next time, my dearest viewer, on Argo the Spiral Guy. Yeah, we're still working on the title.